Good day traders, the 4-step method to high performance trading is a free course download for increasing your competence and your ability to execute your trading edge in live time. The link for the download is in the description box below. And the free audio program, the 7-step daily routine for high performance traders, is also a free download to develop your discipline, your confidence, and a winning mindset to master the markets. Again, the download for these links is in the description box. They're both free downloads. Let's get started. G'day traders, Stacey Burke from Stacey Burke Trading. Last video we spoke about the 3-day setups and opening range, initial balance, and the templates that build into parabolic trade opportunities. Today we'll be talking about part 2 of that, 3-session setups, and understanding what a parabolic type of trade setup is that I'm looking for. And so it doesn't matter if you trade the Asian session or if you trade the London session or if you trade the US session. Primarily what I'm looking for, regardless if I was trading in any one of those three, and 90% of my trades are in New York, but I also trade Asia when we have a parabolic 3-session opportunity, which can be on the front side, maybe on a day 2 or a day 3 parabolic trend trade breaking out of the opening range or continuing a move, or perhaps on the back side when we break structure and we're either first green day, first red day for a vertical parabolic move in the Asian session. Let's look at an example. And just to kind of paint a picture of what a parabolic setup might look like is we have a peak formation high, peak formation low, and a market that can consolidate into the beginning of a new session for 25 or 50 pip move. And again, I talk about wanting to position myself in that timing window as that market's about to go vertical. So we have a peak formation in one session, peak formation low in another session, and then that coiled consolidation may be down low into the low of that peak formation. This could be London, for example, this could be New York, and this could be Asia, or the rollover time into the Asian window for a parabolic explosive move. Now again, I'm looking for the opportunities where these markets are about to explode and go vertical. Now we can see different variations of that. We can see a peak formation high, a peak formation low, and a market that works its way back up before going vertical. And again, there are different types of scenarios. This could be New York, this could be Asia, and this could be London for the capitulation back through the low of the day. We could see a market that makes a peak formation high, another high into the new day, and a break in structure in Asia for a collapse. We could have a London session low, a New York high, and an Asian 5-day breakout that fails for a coiled explosive reversal. There are different types of variation, but again, coming back to understanding the parabolic nature of a 3-session setup. And that can come from, everything could be in London and New York could be inside for a collapse in Asia or a vertical explosion in Asia. It could be London, New York for an Asian peak formation and then a vertical collapse. We have a market on Friday on the pound yen that made a peak formation low in the London window, in between the US and the London window, and a high of the week into the close of the week that made a peak formation high in the US session. Peak formation low, peak formation high, London, New York, and an auction that dropped down 3 levels of drop, 75 pips from the high. Understanding major round numbers, there are plenty of videos on the channel that you can go back and review, and also 3-session setups, but we have 3 levels of drop heading into the new week. This is possibly a setup where we have a 3-level drop for a vertical stop hunt back into lower level shorts from the Friday evening close. Again, we had a market that broke out of Thursday's high, peak formation low, peak formation high, consolidation down in the lower level of a 100 pip box. Higher highs into the beginning of the new day prior to our Asian window opening. Higher highs on the inside is the setup for the dump and pump. So again, we get our vertical move down underneath the lower level of 25 into higher level longs right off the bat in the new day, the new week, and the reversal coinciding with the last 15 minutes of the first hour. Front side, back side. We're now on the back side of the move. Quarter level for a 50 pip move up through lower level shorts up to 75 from Friday's breakout of Thursday's high. So again, the peak formation low, peak formation high, 3 levels of drop, consolidation, and a vertical move in Asia. And you'll notice again, I specified I target and look for Asian cross pairs, Aussie, New Zealand, Japanese yen, and their cross rates for potential parabolic moves. This is an example of a Friday, Monday 3-session setup. And just reinforcing that because we're at the beginning of a new week, we haven't taken out any highs or lows of weeks, this would be what I would consider to be a session scalp, a 90-10 high probability opportunity for a session trade. So we can look at the pound Aussie. We have a peak formation low on Tuesday that reverses from Monday's opening range, the failed breakout, and a parabolic move on major red news on Wednesday morning. And that sets up for a peak formation high, a session, an Asian session that does the entire day's range before coiling back inside, a peak formation low into the close of the day. So I get this question quite often. How do you define a peak formation? Remember, what we're looking for is a peak formation that is formed in a session. Peak formation high in Asia, peak formation low in the US session. The market closes above where it opened, and that's our consolidation heading into the new day. Peak formation low, peak formation high, and consolidation. That sets us up for a potential 3 levels of rise from the low of the day and a potential parabolic move. High of the week, and we have a pump into the close of the day. Wednesday becomes our new day 1, which means Thursday is our day 2. And we can, if this market is now on the backside of the move, if indeed there is a setup, then that parabolic opportunity may present in the Asian session. We have 3 levels of rise. We have a high of the session into the close of the day. We get a pump and a reversal right at the beginning of our Asian session window for an opportunity to short this once this market has taken out the higher level longs. That first hour engulfs the high of the day, and remember what I talk about, the lowest closing body is a great indicator of who is trapped in the market. The other consideration is the closing price on the previous day. As Paul Tudor Jones says, pay particular attention to the close of the day. 3 levels of rise, the pump and failed breakout, lower low on the inside, pump and dump coinciding with the beginning of our second hour for a 50 pip vertical collapse from the close of the US session. This is a parabolic trade setup, 3 sessions. Peak formation high in Asia, London's inside, they drop down, lower low back inside of the breakout and pump it back up, peak formation low US session into the close of the day. 3 levels of rise, consolidation, the failed breakout, the lower low, and the pump and dump at the beginning of the second hour. 3 session setup for a parabolic Asian session trade. Now let's take a look at a 3 session London parabolic opportunity and how that can present with a New York Asia peak formation high, peak formation low, or New York peak formation high and low and Asia consolidation inside for a London parabolic. There are different variations, but we'll look at some London parabolic opportunities. Now here's an excellent example of a London session parabolic. We have, heading into our new day, a peak formation that forms in our Asian session just prior to the Europe-London window, puts in the high of the day, and a peak formation low that is formed in our US window before consolidating into the close. The Asian session puts a lower peak formation high in. Remember, we're looking at the London session right now. We have a market that had a failed breakout, a false break, peak formation high, Asian session, peak formation low, and then went sideways into the close. We can put our close of the day on there. And that market puts a lower peak formation high in place in our Asian session. Peak formation low US session, peak formation high Asia, and a move into the low of the day before reversing in the London window at the low of the day. We have our universal EMA just at the beginning of our London window, and before the third hour begins, we have our parabolic liftoff for an easy 50 pip, low stress, 90-10 opportunity in the London session. Peak formation low, peak formation high, consolidation, lower level 100 pip box. We'll just paint that again. Study your major round numbers. We have 3 levels of rise for our parabolic trade setup that continued into the US window for a low hanging fruit opportunity. So remember, when we have our current high of the day in place, but when the Asian session puts a new peak formation low in place, there is our dump and pump setup. That dump and pump scenario occurs over 3 days, 3 sessions, sometimes 3 hours. Lower low, lower highs, down into the low of the day for the reversal. London hour open, 3rd hour begins and goes parabolic back through the high of the current day and to the high of the previous day. 3 levels of rise. Now here's a fantastic example, again, a different variation. We have the pound New Zealand, we have peak formation high in the US session, peak formation low in the Asian session. So we've broken the previous day's low. And this instance, the market proceeds to auction back up towards the peak formation high of the US session, heading into our Europe-London window. Peak formation low, peak formation high. We've broken out of the previous day's low of the day at the close. So again, the importance of closing price. And this is an example of a day that auctions on both sides of the closing price. So basically we're in a 50 pip box. So if you pay attention to major round numbers again, you'll notice that we've had 3 levels of rise. If we just go down to our peak formation low, the market has proceeded up into that 3rd level. Peak formation high, peak formation low, auctioning back up into our peak formation right at the beginning of our timing window. Our universal EMA, we'll zoom in on this here. And again, our 50 pip parabolic reversal into longs from the Asian gap. So remember the psychology behind what we're looking for here. We're looking for a parabolic move that's hunting the money. Where is the money? It's not necessarily just always at the lows or the highs, but we have higher level longs chasing this move back up to the top. The market goes sideways into consolidation into the end of our 1st hour. 3 levels of rise. And you'll notice that our universal EMA gets dragged up high before engulfing for the vertical collapse back into higher level longs. A 50 pip parabolic 3 session setup for the London session. We can now look at New York, and we can have an Asia, London, New York setup. And sometimes it doesn't always set up that way. It could be a New York, Asia, London setup for New York parabolic. But 3 sessions setup on a New York setup. And sometimes, again, this is what I'll look for on a day 3, because that, especially on a Friday, typically New York will be the close of the week. And the same thing can happen with Asia at the opening of a week. So we can often see a parabolic move in the Asian session or on the beginning of the week, but this 3 session Asia, London, New York opportunity is what I look for in the New York session. I want to show this example first. It's a basic 25 pip parabolic move, but I want to demonstrate the importance of that even a 25 pip parabolic move can be sized into if you understand the setups. Now coming back to, we have a breakout, a failed breakout on our Tuesday, which was a holiday in the United States. So again, we had July 4th, but Asia London traded as normal. We had a breakout that failed. That was our peak formation high in the US session. Asia is on the inside. Peak formation high, peak formation low, and not in place yet. The market is still making new lows. So we have a low that's in place, and they continue to go lower into the gap. They go lower again. They go lower again at the beginning of our London Europe window before going vertical, but not through the high of the day. They take out the high of the day and reverse and go lower again for pulling back and go lower one last time in our gap in 3 pushes just prior to our US window opening. So we have a 3 push pattern heading into our last hour of our London window prior to the US session. So we have 3 pushes down and then another 3rd push right at the beginning of the session and a pin hammer. Now, if we go back to our understanding of what we're looking for, we've had 3 levels of drop. Now, I'll go back and I'm going to talk about this because I get this question a lot. How did you get 3 levels of drop? Remember what I said. This is the upper level. The middle level is the box inside, the number box inside. That's a 25 pip box. They don't need to go all the way up to the top of the numbers on the top level or on the bottom level, peak formation low that pulls back inside and engulfs the lower structure, the bodies of the lower structure. This is a parabolic setup on the low level, and we're going to be targeting a minimum of the high of the day, but you'll also notice that breakout level can become significant as well from Monday's high of the day. We have London's high of the day right there. We're going to start with that as our high of the day stop hunt on a parabolic move. So we have a 3-session parabolic opportunity. So again, Asia's inside. Asia is not formed the peak formation. The US was a peak formation high. London forms a peak formation low before engulfing at the beginning of our timing window with our 3 push pattern and then a 3 micro push pattern for the vertical parabolic 25 pip move. And what I want to demonstrate with this is the understanding that even on a 25 pip move, okay, it's not always about how many pips, it's the quality of the setup. And would I be willing to size into something? Not the same as a 3-star, 3 levels, 3-session setup for a high of week, low of week opportunity, but this is a scalable 90-10 session scalp opportunity that is definitely something I would be willing to put size on for the vertical explosion, no major red news on the calendar, back up through the high of the day for an easy parabolic 25 pips. This is a fantastic example on gold of a 3-session setup on a day 1 or Monday for an explosive parabolic opportunity. We had the peak formation high of the week made on Friday heading into our new week. You'll notice the same pattern we saw before, the lower lows from the high. This is our target up here if this setup presents. Peak formation high in the US window. Gold, a bit more volatile than the currency pairs, but you'll notice again 3 levels of drop. In our 100 pip box, we have a consolidation at the beginning of the day. We can target down to that level 1. The market goes lower, and we talk about if the market goes beyond a level, we redraw our levels, but it pulls back inside and pushes down into the low of the day. 3 levels of drop. But the most important thing that happened on the day was a higher high. We had a lower high of the day that made consecutive lower lows before going vertical. That higher high is a break of structure on the inside. And that becomes the setup itself once they take out the low of the Asian session for the dump and pump. So you'll notice if we just tighten this up, we can higher high, 1 push, 2 pushes, engulfment, and a 1, 2, 3 pushes right in the beginning of our US session window. We'll zoom in on our 5-minute chart. This was a zero stress, easy money trade setup. Remember, we had little higher highs, the consolidation down low. Market broke above the lower high inside. This is the pattern within the pattern. So an excellent question the other day was, how do you look for range expansions? Well, this is the type of trade that you will look for a range expansion on. Any type of parabolic, 1 full expansion of the range from, I go body to body, high to low, for the parabolic move to that 100% expansion of the range. People have asked, well, how do you use your tool? We'll show you in a second. Or we can go to the lower pattern within the pattern, the rectangle, for measured range expansions of that itself. And this completes pretty much 4 full expansions of that range. Now, just to show people, you can do this on any parabolic opportunity. All we've done here is change the Fibonacci levels to 50%, 100% expansion, 200% expansion, 300% expansion, 400%, and 500%. That is it. Nothing complicated. It's not Fibonacci or anything else. We're looking purely at major round numbers and patterns within patterns, the rectangles. And this lower consolidation forms a rectangle. Go body to body on this low peak formation low and the peak formation highs, and that gives us a consolidation. Again, if we were to use that, or the high and low of the day for 100% range expansion, targeting that second full range expansion. But this was a very, very fantastic trade on Monday, day 1, for a 3-session. Peak formation high, made lower lows, peak formation low in London. The whole day becomes consolidation. We have 3 levels of drop, consolidation down in the lower level, the reversal and engulfment into our first hour for the explosive parabolic explosion. Now, just coming back, if we back this up a bit, we can see the peak formation low from the previous week was on Thursday. That gives us our day 1. Day 2 is Friday. And then our day 3 parabolic opportunity on Monday, the new day of our new week, gave us an explosive blow off in the direction of the trend. So just in closing, you can go back and review this on your own charts depending on the sessions that you're trading. Looking for those peak formations and consolidations and the coil for the explosive move, whether that's with trend or the reversal against traders chasing a move. But these are 3-session setups that can coincide with the larger 3-day setups, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and other 3-day setups, as well as day 3 breakout trade opportunities that can reverse or fail in the direction of those moves. So study, go back, review this on your charts depending on the session that you're trading. Hunt out the best setups over a basket of instruments. It doesn't have to be the same instrument all the time. We'll be looking at some other 3-day, 3-session opportunities that occurred on day 3 this week on Free Cash Wednesday. So keep it simple, traders. Focus on the best trade setups, 90-10 opportunities, and may the markets go with you.